Hi everyone, welcome to Abney Learning. In today's video, we will be talking about my 3-year guide to a medical school acceptance. I am currently a second-year medical student, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to get into medical school. I was successful with multiple interviews and acceptances, and I think that if you are looking for a traditional route to get into medical school in 3 years, I think if you follow this strategy, then you will be able to do everything you need to do to get there. And so let's get started. So beginning with your freshman year, I'm going to go through exactly what you're going to be doing every single year in the school year and in the summer. And I had 15 different activities. You can have up to 15 when you apply to medical school, and I have numbered throughout this entire thing what the 15 are that I had that you could also have. So number one thing, starting on this left side, is classes. That's always going to be your number one priority throughout all 4 years of college, because your GPA should never suffer for anything else. That is the number one thing medical schools look at, and you need to keep that high. And so the number one I have here is not only do they look at your grades, and doing well in school is great, but it can lead to certain recognition. So one thing that I had was I got on the dean's list for multiple semesters, and this is something you can list on your application. So that's the first thing I had. The second thing that I have here written down is research. Research is something that people say often to start in your sophomore year or junior year, but I think this is completely false. I think starting in your freshman year gives you a great head start, because it takes multiple years to get a publication in a research lab. You need to build a relationship with the people in the lab, and this can only happen if you begin freshman year. So I would say get started with research, email a bunch of PIs, and I'll make a separate video on how to actually get started with research, but definitely get started with this freshman year. So that's the second thing. The third and fourth things is I would encourage you to join around two school clubs your freshman year and get involved. Just try a few different things. It can be an athletic club, it can be a volunteering club, anything that you'd like. So that's what I would do during the school year. So this should give you a nice balance between classes, extracurriculars, but not doing too much. So now moving on to the summer after your freshman year. So I did most of my clinical work, as you'll see throughout a theme throughout this video, in my summers. And this is how I balance kind of having a normal life during the school year, keeping my grades up, but then also getting everything I need to get done. So in the summer after your first year, a few things that I could recommend that you would do would be something like shadowing, community volunteering, or hospital volunteering. These are the three kind of areas of clinical work that you need by the time you apply. So I would pick 2 things during the summer. You only have to do a few hours per week, and honestly the rest of your week will be free. And then, so that's number 5 and 6. And then I would also suggest, like, if you're not doing this during the school year already, work experience is something that's not only important for medical school applications, but your own personal growth. I worked a job during this summer, and I put that on my application, and you can make some money while you're at it. So that is what I did, and 7 of my activities came from right here. So moving on to the sophomore year. So again, during school, you'll be taking your classes, keeping that GPA up. Here I just wrote you'll be taking some gen eds, maybe moving into your major in your sophomore year. And this next thing I wrote is leadership. And so this is going to come from one of those previous clubs that you hopefully started freshman year. Once you volunteer sort of in a club or a part of a club for the freshman year, a lot of times they look for executive board members, and the applications are typically during your freshman year. So keep that in mind. And if you can secure one of those leadership positions, that's going to be a great thing to put on your application. So that's what I did. And then I would say to join like one more club. It can be sort of like, I'm just putting here, like, it can be anything you want, anything you're interested in. Join any club, maybe try to make it a diverse variety of clubs than the 2 that you joined freshman year. And so that'll really like show that you're very involved on campus, because that's something that medical schools love to see. And the third thing I wrote here is that you want to continue that research work, because again, you're trying to build that relationship in your lab to hopefully get a publication or poster or something over the next year or so. So we're up to 9 activities now. And again, I believe this creates pretty good balance during the school year, not having too much to do, but still keeping definitely busy and utilizing your time fairly well. So then that second summer after your sophomore year. So as I mentioned before, I use my summers to do a lot of my clinical activities. So again, this is something that I did. I did hospice work in my summer after my sophomore year. You can again fill in any of those gaps I talked about in the last slide: community volunteering, shadowing. You can continue any things, but I did different experiences so I could have a variety of clinical experiences to explain really that I've been exposed to medicine You can do hospice, you can do any sort of like community work, anything that you're really interested in, but definitely try to get a variety of experiences. And this is going to bring us up to 12 activities by the end of your sophomore year. Finally, during your junior year, so during the school year, again, you're kind of getting up to your major classes now. Your schoolwork's definitely going to be a little bit more difficult this year, and you're going to be taking some of those upper pre-med level classes like biochem and stuff like that. So definitely, again, focus on your classes, keep that GPA high. The next thing I put is honor society. So this was something I was able to add to my application because you do apply at the end of your junior year, so you kind of need everything to be in by then. But a lot of honor societies at this time, like in your major or something like that, like mine, I joined the psychology honor society because I was a psych major. They will start applications during your junior year to then be a part of it as a senior. But if you get in during your junior year, you can then put that on your application. So I'd highly recommend to look out for that during your junior year, and that's something that you can add. Again, you're going to continue those volunteering and leadership positions that you had from your previous clubs, just to show longevity. Again, medical schools love to see that you're committed to something and that you stick with it. So you definitely want to do that. And then again, continuing that research. And this is where that really important longevity of your research work comes in, because your ideal goal is by the end of your junior year, you should have a pub, paper, or poster. And this is basically what it all culminates to. And that's why you started so early in your freshman year, because you gave yourself over 2.5 years to get this done, and this will look amazing in your medical school application. It's not absolutely needed, but it was really helpful to me when I was applying. And I put a star down here for the MCAT because if you are applying right away, in 3 years you will need to take the MCAT this year. So junior year, I would say so far is definitely the toughest, but yeah, it's definitely like it's crunch time right before your application for sure. So then the summer after your junior year, so this is where it starts to kind of wind down. You finished all of your activities, you're applying. The 15th thing I put here is like, I honestly wanted most of my time to be spent on my applications. I knew it would be super time consuming. So I did one clinical activity. I worked at a local clinic, or I volunteered at a local clinic nearby. And this was just to show that, like I'm still doing things. It's not like I'm just applying to medical school. I can't handle anything else. But honestly, I wanted to give myself a break after working so hard during my junior year, like right here. So I just did one thing once a week. I still put it on my application. And especially when I was interviewing, this came in handy because they will ask you like, what have you been doing recently? So that's what I did. And that brings us to our 15 activities. And then senior year is pretty chill. Hopefully you'll be applying, you'll be interviewing, and hopefully you'll be getting some acceptances. And I would say the only thing to keep in mind during senior year is to continue with a few of your activities that you were doing. You don't have to keep all of them that you were doing in your previous years. Like, for example, I stopped doing my research later into my senior year, but I continued with some of my volunteering activities in clubs and school that I really enjoyed. So I would say continue with these. Again, when it comes to interviewing, this becomes super important. And I would say have fun. You're applying, you're interviewing, you worked so hard the past 3 years, and your senior year should be enjoyable. And so thank you guys so much for watching. I really think this 3-year guide will help every single person if they follow it, get into medical school. I think for me personally, this was obviously I had to work super hard in the 3 years, keeping my grades, my extracurriculars. And I think honestly, this was an amazing balance between doing research and sort of school activities during the year and keeping my clinical work to the summers. I was able to have fun during my college experience, I would say, and I was able to get into medical school, which was my dream. And so I hope that this can help some of you guys as well. I will be making a lot more videos about everything I talked about in this video, more into depth in future videos. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me anything you want to see specifically. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!